Have you ever woken up in the morning and felt slower than you used to? Maybe your hands feel a little colder. Maybe your mind takes longer to fully switch on. And somewhere in the back of your thoughts, you wonder, is this just aging? Here's something important to understand. As we get older, circulation doesn't suddenly fail, but it does change. Blood vessels may become a little less flexible. Hydration signals shift. We tend to move less first thing in the morning, and over time, small daily habits can quietly influence how energized or sluggish we feel. The problem is, most advice online swings to extremes. Drink more water. Take this supplement. Try that trend. But real health rarely works in extremes. It works in patterns. Emerging research is showing something encouraging. Lifestyle still plays a powerful role in how our bodies function after 60. Not dramatic overhauls, not intense workouts, just small, consistent signals that tell your body it's time to wake up and circulate efficiently. In this video, we're going to look at what actually changes in morning circulation as we age, and just as importantly, what doesn't. We'll talk about hydration balance, gentle movement, breathing, temperature exposure, posture, and why gravity itself may be influencing how you feel before noon. Nothing extreme, nothing fear-based, just science-informed habits you can understand and apply thoughtfully. Before we begin, I'm curious. Have you noticed changes in your morning energy over the years? Or does it still feel the same? Share your experience in the comments. You might be surprised how many people relate. Now let's start with something most people completely misunderstand about morning circulation. And it begins with what you drink the moment you wake up. Have you ever woken up in the morning and felt like your body is moving a step behind your mind? Or maybe your mind feels a step behind your body? The room isn't spinning. Nothing dramatic is happening. But your hands feel cooler than they used to. Your thoughts take a little longer to sharpen. And quietly, almost subconsciously, you wonder, is this just what getting older feels like? It's a common question, especially after 60. And the honest answer is nuanced. Circulation does change with age, but not in the catastrophic way the internet sometimes suggests. Blood vessels may gradually lose some flexibility. The signals that regulate hydration can shift. Muscle mass often declines if we're less active, and daily routines become more sedentary without us even realizing it. These changes are subtle, layered, and influenced by lifestyle as much as by the calendar. What's reassuring is that research consistently shows aging isn't a switch that suddenly flips circulation off. The body remains remarkably adaptive. It still responds to movement. It still responds to hydration patterns. It still responds to temperature changes, breathing patterns, and posture. The question isn't whether aging changes circulation. It's how our habits interact with those changes. Let's start with hydration, because it's often oversimplified. For decades, the message has been straightforward. Drink more water. And staying hydrated absolutely matters. But modern hydration science is a little more detailed than that. Fluids don't work alone. They work alongside electrolytes, minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium that help regulate fluid balance inside and outside your cells. As we age, thirst cues may become less reliable. Some people underhydrate without realizing it. Others overcorrect and drink large amounts of plain water quickly, thinking more is always better. Public health discussions in recent years have even addressed the risks of overhydration in certain situations, especially when electrolytes aren't balanced. It's not about fear. It's about understanding balance. Electrolytes help your body maintain appropriate fluid distribution. They support nerve signaling and muscle contraction, including the heart muscle. That doesn't mean loading up on salt or chasing trends. It simply means hydration is a partnership. Fluids plus minerals, influenced by diet, medications, activity level, and overall health. For most people, balanced meals and consistent fluid intake throughout the day are more important than any dramatic morning ritual. And then there's movement, or more accurately, the lack of it. One of the biggest shifts in modern health research isn't just about exercise, it's about sedentary behavior. Studies over the past decade have highlighted how prolonged sitting can influence circulation, metabolism, and overall cardiovascular health, even in people who exercise occasionally. You may have heard the phrase calf muscle pump, referred to as the body's second heart. It's a simplified way of describing something real. When your calf muscles contract, they help push blood in the veins back toward the heart, working against gravity. If the morning routine involves sitting immediately, coffee, phone scrolling, television, that muscle pump remains relatively inactive. That doesn't mean you need intense cardio at sunrise. In fact, for many adults over 60, gentle and consistent movement may be more sustainable and beneficial than sudden bursts of high-intensity exercise. Light walking, ankle flexing, standing up periodically, these small motions send signals through the circulatory system. They're reminders that the body is designed for rhythm, not stillness. Another area gaining attention in vascular research is nitric oxide, a naturally produced molecule that helps blood vessels relax and widen when needed. Vessel flexibility plays a role in how efficiently blood moves through the body. Research shows nitric oxide production can decline with age, but lifestyle factors appear to influence it. Physical activity, especially aerobic movement, has been associated with supporting healthy endothelial function. That's the inner lining of blood vessels. Diets rich in leafy greens and vegetables provide compounds the body can convert into nitric oxide. Even breathing patterns are being studied. Slow nasal breathing and certain vocal vibrations, like humming, have shown interesting effects on airflow and nasal nitric oxide levels in small studies. It's important to keep this grounded. These are supportive behaviors, not magic switches, but they highlight something powerful. The body is constantly communicating internally. Breathing, eating, and moving aren't separate health categories. They're interconnected signals. Temperature exposure is another topic that's resurfaced in wellness conversations. Cold showers, contrast therapy, ice baths. You've probably seen the headlines. The science here is still evolving. Short bursts of cooler water appear to trigger temporary constriction of blood vessels near the skin, followed by a widening response as the body warms back up. Researchers are exploring how this might influence vascular responsiveness and alertness. That said, comfort and safety matter. Not everyone tolerates cold exposure well, and it isn't necessary for health. For some people, simply avoiding extremely hot showers that leave them feeling lightheaded may be enough to maintain comfort and stability. The broader message isn't about extremes. It's about recognizing that our bodies adapt to environmental signals. Small variations can stimulate responsiveness, but they should always feel manageable and appropriate for the individual. Now let's talk about something we rarely think about: gravity. For most of the day, gravity pulls blood toward the lower part of the body. Veins in the legs work continuously to return blood upward. Over long periods of sitting or standing, especially without movement, that upward return can feel less efficient. Some people notice leg heaviness or mild swelling later in the day. Simple positional changes can influence how fluids distribute. Elevating the legs while resting is a common relaxation practice in many cultures. It allows gravity to assist rather than resist venous return. This isn't about reversing medical conditions or replacing care. It's about understanding how physics interacts with physiology. Posture plays a role too. Slouching compresses parts of the torso and may subtly influence breathing depth. Upright posture encourages fuller diaphragmatic breathing, which itself supports circulation by creating pressure changes in the chest cavity. Again, nothing extreme, just gentle awareness of how positioning shapes function. What ties all of this together isn't a miracle technique, it's behavior science. One of the biggest barriers to long-term health improvement isn't lack of knowledge, it's overwhelm. When people try to change 5 habits at once, consistency usually collapses. Behavioral research consistently shows that small, specific changes are more sustainable than sweeping overhauls. Instead of asking, "How do I completely fix my circulation?" a more productive question might be, "What 2 small signals can I send my body this week?" Maybe that's standing up every hour in the morning. Maybe it's paying closer attention to balanced hydration. Maybe it's adding a short walk after breakfast or practicing slower breathing for a minute before starting the day. Progress in health rarely looks dramatic. It looks subtle and steady. And over time, subtle and steady builds momentum. If any part of this conversation resonated with you, the slower mornings, the colder hands, the curiosity about how aging interacts with circulation, you're not alone. These are shared experiences, not personal failures. The encouraging part is that the body continues to respond to thoughtful care at every age. If you found this discussion helpful, consider sharing it with someone who might appreciate a calm, research-informed perspective. And I'd genuinely like to hear from you. Have you noticed changes in your morning energy over the years? Or have certain habits made a difference in how you feel? Your experiences add depth to this conversation. In our next discussion, we're going to explore another piece of the healthy aging puzzle, and it might not be what most people expect.